First of all, my name is Janet Thushery, and I am Saxet Urela in Second Life as part of this project. I think you've heard the introductions before in the previous session. I had this all as a read, but I'm actually just going to be real personal with it. We have a great team we work with, and I'm going to introduce you as we're all very diverse. And as I introduce you, I'm going to tell you what part of the team they are. First, I want to introduce Louise Nicholson. She is the balloon for our team. She floats around and she gets a lot done, and she has some wonderful gifts. She works with LA Radio Reading Service in real life, and co-producer of Access Unlimited. She was initially this project got started because of Louise. She came into Second Life, had a little prop guide dog, and the rest is history, and she's going to talk about that in just a little bit. I would like to introduce next, I guess I kind of have to introduce myself next. I'm the string. And we've all got balloons on the table, and you feel free to blow them up. But I function as the string in the group. So a balloon just kind of floats into nowhere without a string. So you need a string to kind of hold on to the balloon and keep it going, because it makes it real. As Louise says, a string with a balloon makes it really interesting. Then we have Jolie. She's the knot in our string that ties onto the balloon. She functions as a wonderful job. I have learned so much from Jolie, just talking to her and getting a perspective that I no longer had. And while Jolie may be physically blind, she sees far more than I do. And I will be willing to say that. She has opened up my vision into things that I never even considered, and I appreciate that in her. So she's the knot in the loop. Well, then we have Charles as part of the team. Charles is the wind that carries us back and forth with his wonderful scripting talent. Charles and I have known each other for a long time. I've been in Second Life nearly 4 years, and I've known him probably nearly that long back in the shelter days. My first property in Second Life was near the shelter, and so as I was kind of getting bored, I would get a lot of visitors from the shelter flying by. I thought, well, what is this place? I think I'll go over there. Well, it wasn't long till I met Charles, and we got to talking about some scripting and stuff like that, and the rest is history. So we're very diverse, and that's why we've tagged ourselves with different monikers, I guess, because we're so diverse. But when you bring all of that together, it works, and it makes things very interesting. So this has been a really very interesting project. We're going to start off with allowing, I know we're pressed for time. We have another session coming in behind there. We really want to get down to showing you, Jolie wants to show you how the technology works. Louise is going to give us just a little bit of history, so you kind of understand how we got to where we are. Take it away, Louise.
The first part of the history I'm going to start with is to surprise Jolie, who in Second Life is Jolie One Magic. Today happens to be her res day. This is Jolie One's Magic very first res day, and we know that because Jolie resed in, and she was at the start of Virtual Abilities Orientation Trail for new residents.
So, congratulations for Virtual Abilities.
And so let's sing Happy Res Day for Jolie. Happy Res Day to you. Happy Res Second Life, we've got a tip jar out here. Okay, and so we have a balloon for Jolie and also a picture of Max, the guide dog. So here's a card, Jolie.
Thank you. That is really wonderful. I was really worried when they were talking about the balloon that I was going to be the pin, because I keep complaining about stuff. Oh, nice.
And
Thank you.
the long balloons you have on the table kind of need this pump to blow them up. So we're going to pass this pump around. It's our world, our way. So pass it on, and you guys could even make little Maxes.
Or not.
Or not.
We missed out
And then
on the one.
we'll pass that too. These,
You need one of those knots. I'm really good at those
that's
knots.
right. Okay, and then these are also going to be passed around. These are water balloons. Take them on home. Enjoy, enjoy.
There's plenty of those on each table.
All right, the virtual guide dog project wasn't the reason why I came to Second Life. I came to Second Life in order to teach business seminars to business managers. It's a state and federal requirement that every 2 years business managers go off and learn about the new legislation involved with inclusion, to make sure that we create a world that's truly accessible and respectful for everyone. And I thought, what better place than Second Life? Because it's so adaptable, so flexible, that you can take, as you heard in the earlier session, a big, burly CEO, and he can become, as an avatar, a little old lady in a wheelchair. And what better way to understand what it's like to be in a wheelchair than actually to be in one? So I had heard about Second Life from my identical twin sister, Jolie here. She had been listening to National Public Radio and heard about wheelies and Simon Walsh, and said, okay, I think this is going to be a great place for you to teach these classes. So I rezzed in there at Help Island and found I could not see well enough to get around. Okay, I'm totally blind in this eye, and then I have central vision about that big in my right eye. And I had a terrible time tracking my avatar as it would move around. So I said, you know what? The very first thing I've got to do is get some help with this disability. And I had heard about Wheelies and Simon, so I said there's got to be a way for me to get there. And it took about a week for me to be able to learn to navigate well enough. Remember, this is before the great orientation trail begun by Virtual Ability. So it took me about a week to learn to navigate well enough, and I had discovered that if I put the avatar in white, I could track it better. So when I got to Wheelies and met Simon Walsh in his wheelchair, I was as surprised as anyone else to see an avatar in a wheelchair. Why would that be when you can fly here? And I met the new director of Wheelies, Bulgara Payne, and she immediately, very sympathetic, sweet person, immediately said, I'll help you get around. She found a pose ball that's normally used for wedding ceremonies so that the father of the bride can escort her down the aisle. And so, with this pose ball, Bulgara could escort me as I held her elbow. But she was also very busy getting the new wheelies built, and I didn't want to keep tying her down by having to escort me. So I said, there's got to be a way that I can signal people that, just like Simon signals people, that I have a disability. I took the plunge, I wrote it into my profile. Before this, I had kept it confidential, just told Bulgara, and I went to the closing garage sale for Heron Sanctuary, and there I found a freebie sled dog attached to a sled. And the very first build project I ever did was take that little sled dog apart from the sled, take the handle of the sled and turn it into a harness so that people would see I had a guide dog with me. And then I was finally able, to get people to slow down and give me lots of time to find those IMs on the screen. And one of the very first IMs that I answered was Charles Moore's, in real life, his avatar name, Charles Mountain, sent me an IM saying, since I was visually impaired, maybe I would like to be part of Second Ability Mentors and help people coming into Second Life who have vision problems or print impairments. And I said, okay, great, so let's meet. And when I met Charles, he took a look at my little guide dog there, no animation, nothing, it's just there as a prop, and said, well, he loves dogs in real life and Second Life. And he said, what does your dog do? And I said, nothing. It's just a prop to alert people that I need help finding things and getting around. And his eyes lit up, as a scripter's eyes will, and he said, you need help finding things? I've got this radar script I wrote. And so I can put that in the dog for you. And then Max, the virtual guide dog, was born. We kept working on the different traits that the dog would need in order for someone who's blind to actually be able to use Second Life. I had my big problem about navigation solved with the scripting and with the ability to move using the dog. However, I knew I have, a blind twin sister, and she would never be able to read all this type. It had to be read to her, and the screen reader would not read aloud in Second Life. So Charles, again, the inspiration, that's why he's the wind of the project, came up with a screen reader for Second Life, and it's called Max Voice Plus. You'll be hearing it in just a moment. And if you want to download it from the web, it's free. It's www.virtualguidedog.org/tools. And it's called Max Voice Plus, a screen reader that works in Second Life. And this screen reader is more than just a screen reader. It can also serve as a virtual mouse. In other words, with chat commands, you can click on various buttons. Now this has to be done with someone helping the user because everybody's user interface is a little different. And so it takes setup and patience. So the person who is visually impaired needs to have a sighted person help them get it set up, but once they do that, you've given them the independence and the engagement to be able to reach out in Second Life. So the dog still was in his, what we call, his little wooden state. So we were calling him Splinter. It was time to have him look even better, and so we had the great services of Nogat I, who sculpted a lovely German Shepherd for us. We had worked very hard with wonderful people at BKC Dogs to see if we could use one of their dogs, but it turns out that since the Max needs to be attached to the user, we had to actually develop our own dog as well. Well, we now had a beautiful, well-trained dog, and so it was time to introduce him to the world, which we did at Helen Keller Day, which was June 27th, 2009, the actual anniversary of Helen Keller's birthday. And for that day, we had 4 wonderful keynote speakers. The first was Pathfinder Linden, who spoke for Linden Lab, who was nice enough to donate the use of their educational SINs for the events themselves. We also had a relative of Helen Keller. Her very own great-grandniece came to speak, whose name is Keller. Tell she's related, huh? First name is Keller Johnson Thompson. And she spoke about her organization, which is Helen Keller Foundation, and an organization that she's on the executive board of, which is the American Foundation for the Blind. And she offered to collaborate with us. And the next speaker, the third keynote speaker, was an incredibly inspiring gentleman who, with his guide dog Rochelle, managed to escape from the World Trade Center on that fateful day, September 11th. And they didn't just get out the door from the first floor. He went down the stairs all the way from the 78th floor with the dog Rochelle and met the fire people coming up those stairs, and Rochelle licked the firefighter's hand as they passed. And as Michael said, that was probably the last physical affection those guys got in this world, because they were soon to be in the next world. The final keynote speaker was from the Lions Club. Okay, his real life name is George Holston, and in Second Life he's Pirate Lions, and he has founded the first international Lions Club in Second Life. So each of these groups reached out to collaborate with us and partner with everyone here in this room, because we are, the residents are, the heart of Second Life. So what are they partnering to accomplish? They are trying to accomplish making Second Life universally accessible. In other words, making it able for anyone at any time to use Second Life for what we call the 4 E's: to be employed, educated, entertained, and engaged. I'm now going to explain why we have all these. We do have balloons on the table, but we also have one more thing. On each table there should be one of these, okay? These are packing materials. And we were asked at this session to please explain what there is in Second Life for someone who's blind. Charles, that was one of the very first questions he asked me, just totally dumbfounded. Why would somebody who's blind want to be here in Second Life? And it's actually a trick question, because somebody who's blind wants to be in Second Life for exactly the same reason we all do. And it's something you can't see that makes Second Life so important, just like it's something you can't see that makes this into packing material, the air inside that's trapped. But the thing we can't see are the people. It's the people that make Second Life worthwhile, the people that make it engaging, the reason why we come back again and again. And for many of us, the reason why we came to this convention was to see for the very first time people that we considered our friends. And with that, I will now introduce Jolly One Magic.
Oh, Charles!
Actually, she was supposed to introduce me, but that's okay. Yeah, it was really an amazing time in my life there when I met Louise. If any of you are programmers, you know that wonderful tingly feeling you get when you find an avenue of programming that's not been explored. You're treading new terrain, and it's very exciting. And I look out on the horizon of what's in the future for accessibility in Second Life, and in particular accessibility tools, and it's just wide open. It's sort of makes me feel like back in the Oregon Trail days, when you just have everything is open to the horizon. There's no limit to what you can possibly do, and we're still learning as we go. This isn't something that is a simple matter of just go and write the scripts to make this happen. Because a lot of what we're spending our time doing is discovering what needs to be done. And then once you find that need, you start looking for a solution to that need, a way to solve or work around that problem. And we're using various technologies to do that. Of course, we've worked with the LSL scripting language quite a bit in Second Life. I have a third-party application which is called Max Voice Plus, which began life as Max Voice. Later on, started gaining the plus because it began doing more than voice. I'm working in a very simple language known as Real Basic. And I chose that language simply because it has the ability to compile to Macintosh, Windows, and Linux in a single, using the same source code. So it's a rapid application language for prototyping. Eventually, our plan is to build all of this into the viewer, but it takes a lot longer to develop these things in the C++ language. So we've gone with a rapid application development language for prototyping. And it's actually turning out to be quite useful in that it can read the chat information that's coming through Second Life, and it's capable of emulating a mouse, and therefore allowing the user to tell Max Voice Plus where to click and what to do with the mouse. And in that instance, it becomes a secondary user interface to where rather than trying to make the user interface immediately accessible, we've placed a layer between you and the interface, allowing you to tell an accessible application what to do through the inaccessible interface. So we're approaching accessibility that way. Yes, it does require some sighted setup because currently I'm not able to locate the button on the screen. Somebody has to tell the program where the button is located. But we're working on removing that barrier. And things are improving, step by step. Right now Max is still a puppy. He's still growing. And the Max Voice Plus application is still fairly immature as well. So all of these things are progressing nicely. When I look back on the year we've been working on this, and I think, oh my, it's been a whole year. And then I think, oh, only a year, and we've come so far. I'm not sure whether we're ahead of schedule, behind schedule, or if we've just drifted off into space somewhere where scheduling is immaterial. But we've learned a whole lot, and we continue to learn more. So with that, I will pass this on to Joey One Magic.
Excellent.
Well, Charles actually has been pretty modest in what he's saying. The entire effort of all of the scripting and making all of that work was a tremendous amount of work. And each one of the improvements just makes it better and better. And that's why I was so worried when they were doing the balloon thing that I was going to be called the pin, because I keep saying to Charles, this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and we need this, and that kind of thing. But it's been a tremendous year for me as well. My year in Second Life actually started with the idea of Virtual Ability Island, and I was looking back on the various things that we now can do. I had the key pad there be Jolie One's Magic's home, just to keep track of all of the different things that had gone on, how much of this could I do. And I'll be demonstrating a number of those when I was looking back that now we actually can do in Second Life. So let me start the demonstration. I did want to make two modifications to the comments, or add a couple of things to the history. First of all, I actually found out about Second Life from NPR, just as Louise mentioned, but it was actually the Science Friday program. So I want to mention to all of the people that gather there at Science Friday Island that I actually heard of Science Friday starting a place there in Second Life, and originally I guess it was a little school building and eventually became an island. So that's where I heard about it. I was very interested because I also do radio though in having a program about Second Life, and that's where I did find out about Simon Walsh when he received the award in England. And the other thing was with little Splinter, the guide dog, I nicknamed Louise's kind of wooden prop there, ID dog, similar to like an ID cane, Splinter, but the real Max actually was a wonderful friend of Charles, and that's who Max, the guide dog, is named for. Okay, now, I actually, if people meet either Jolie One Magic, my other avatar for fun is Casey Garfunkel, because Karen Carpenter is my favorite drummer. I do percussion and stuff like that. So either one of those, say hi to me when we meet up. So let me do this this demo.
Control Map Finder, Macintosh HD, selected, window, quick look panel, Macintosh HD. Volume, Macintosh HD, selected, option.
Do we want to reset the volume? Do we want to reset the volume?
Shelley, do you want to explain what people are hearing?
Can you hear me?
I actually have a keyboard that's modified here. It actually attaches to the regular Mac Pro that we're using, and I have actually gotten one of the appliques of different keys that you have. There are a lot of different selections you can make of peel-off keys that have Braille on them for keyboards. And so we have one here that I've marked various keys. If you want to come up later and see the different keys that I've marked to be able to use this particular keyboard. So it does have some Braille on it as well.
And people are hearing what?
You're actually hearing, right now you're hearing VoiceOver, which is shipped with every single Macintosh. 35 million copies of VoiceOver have been shipped. So anyone that tells you that Macintosh is not accessible, mention to them, VoiceOver is shipped with every single version. And of course, when Snow Leopard comes out, yay, it will be shipped with that as well. Every single, all you do is F5, you can do Command function F5 or Command F5, depending on which setup you have. And that will bring up VoiceOver, and you can actually implement that. So anybody who is blind, or if you're interested in finding out what that interface is like, you can actually do that in your own Macintosh. It's on all of the Macintoshes.
And similarly on the other operating systems as well. These are the built-in things that we were talking about last session.
Right. Is this Gentle Heron?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Oh,
Hi.
nice.
Can you
wonderful.
repeat what Gentle you said in the world people?
Oh, just that it's all the built-ins on all the operating systems.
Gentle is pointing out that these assistive technologies actually ship with the computers themselves.
For example, the narrator with the MS-DOS system, those kinds of things. So there are a variety of sticky keys, mouse accessibility. There are a lot of different things. That's in the Windows world. What I was talking about there with VoiceOver is for Macintosh. So am I on?
You want to launch?
Am I on?
You on? Yeah, you're on the dock. Max Voice, you're ready to launch. Give it a minute.
Max Voice Plus, ready, press Command L to launch Second Life.
Could resist.
Command L. Max Voice Plus, minimum launching Second Life. Second Life version 1.23.4. Second Life is ready for login. Note: Command Q will quit Second Life. You can press Option and Shift to read the current value of any field, excepting the password field. You may now type your first name, then press Tab to continue.
Charles was nice enough to put that prompt to do Command L, because sometimes I would just sit there staring into space waiting.
Capital J, J, O, L, I, E. 1. Tab. You may now type your last name, then press Tab to continue. Capital M, M, A, G, I, C. Tab. You may now type your password, then press Tab to continue or enter to log in.
cool? Charles, I love that. That doesn't echo.
Logging into Second Life, attempting login as Jolie One Magic.
One of the things that Jillian just commented on is important to remember that because it is using voiceover and it's reading your text, not only do we prompt you what
Lyndon
type
Pounds
in which
is
field.
4,183. Lyndon's max voice is
More
working.
money than I do.
Ian Capellini is online. Louise Bader is online. Jen Saw Misfit is online. AWM Mars is online. Mobility Gain 3.6. You are standing playing animation. Kane. Stand connected. Mobility Gain 3.6. Mobility Gain 3.6 is ready. Type /2 red duck and sexy walk. Where? 3,592 bytes free.
All right. So we're going to, sexy walk, how exciting. So we're going to first find out what region I'm in.
/REGN. Mobility Gain 3.6, region. Mobility Gain 3.6, you're in Magakino, rated, mature.
All right, rated mature. I wonder what it would take to be rated immature. Anyway, so that has given me some information, but not much. One of the really great things, though, is there is the HERE command. A lot of, if you're familiar with the Sendero GPS system for the blind, a lot of these commands are very similar, which I think will help with people learning that GPS system in a virtual world. It was very difficult originally when I was learning to use a seeing eye dog, because they want you to use the ordinal directions, and back when I was sighted, I would just constantly use kind of landmarks of, turn left at McDonald's or those kinds of things. They want you to not use the ordinal directions, but actually to very quickly understand that, if you're facing southeast and you want to go north, you have to go left. Those kinds of things. So that whole idea of using that system would be very handy to be able to learn that in Second Life. That's why a lot of the names of the commands are the same. So let's use one of them, the HERE command.
H. E.
We're having a little bit of lag here in the Second Life client. I think that's because of the wireless communication we're using. So
Mobility Gain 3.6, here. Mobility Gain 3.6, your current location is 232,102,22 in Magakino. Mobility Gain 3.6, you are facing north compass heading .000000.
I love all the zeros in Second Life. That north, actually, that zero means that's the compass direction. Obviously, if you're facing east, it would be 90 degrees, south would be 180, west would be 270, I'm sorry, and then heading up closer to 359, and just before you get to north, and then north is zero again. So that compass direction is one of the wonderful things for people who are blind, because it's something people who are blind use all the time, are those directions. And so you can actually, the first thing I want to show is that you can actually change those compass.
COMPASS.
You can use compass to actually change the
Mobility Gain 3.6,
that the
you are
apparatus
facing
is
north
facing.
compass heading .000000.
Okay, great. So let me show that, and I'm going to escape out of chat for just a second. The A, S, D, and W keys
Mobility Gain 3.6, compass.
are the keys that you would normally use as the regular Linden shortcuts to go left or right. And so I want, if I'm heading north, I want to go left to go west.
A. Mobility Gain 3.6, you are turning left playing animation, cane.
See how that's
Walk, mobility gain 3.6, control, H.
Now we can check, oh, this is the most
Forward
fabulous command, I love
slash
this
2.
command. We can check that by just using the dot command.
Period.
Again, this is from the Sendero GPS, but it repeats the last command.
Mobility gain 3.6, compass, mobility gain 3.6, you are facing northwest compass heading 309.225000.
So I'm facing northwest. So I want to actually face,
I'm gonna close the window so they can see the avatar. Just bring up the chat. Okay, there, the chat's.
I do want to mention one thing that we haven't spoken about. The assistive technology actually takes 3 forms in Second Life, so that a user can mirror what they use in real life if they wish to. So we have a guide dog, we have a cane, and then Second Life, if you want to keep your disability confidential, you can. We have a ring. Each one of those 3 items has exactly the same scripting, with the only changes in the animation to make it appropriate for the particular item.
She has a cane, which you can see here.
right, Casey Garfunkel, my, the bongo drummer dude, actually is not blind in Second Life, which is interesting to pull off. And one way you do that is use the cane, instead of using the cane or the dog, you use the ring.
Louise later is offline.
People have put that in a necklace. You can do a variety of things to run that particular script. So let me check. I've just used the left arrow here to try to line up a little bit more with west. So again, we're going to do another one of these dots.
2, period. Mobility gain 3.6, compass, mobility gain 3.6, you are facing northwest compass heading 305.668500.
To 305. Again, we would just continue to use our left arrow here to line that up. The
Try going a little more. All right, that way.
Mobility gain 3.6, you are turning left playing animation.
nice thing is that
cane.
because you're
Walk,
using the left
mobility gain
arrow
3.6, you are standing playing animation, cane, stand.
Since you're using that and the dot is on the right hand, you can very quickly line up the direction that you want to go as you're using this back and forth with just using the dot and either the arrow keys or the ASDW keys on your left hand. In the cane, there actually are, or dog or ring, whatever implementation you want, there actually are some landmarks that are already set for you, so you can actually display those.
Forward slash 2 LANDMARKS.
Landmarks?
Louise later is online.
Is it plural? Landmarks?
Mobility gain 3.6, landmarks, mobility gain 3.6, W.
Now that normally would say something like wheelies, but I'm typing this during a demonstration, and my typing, no one has created the little virtual spelling bee for me. So you can shorten those names. So I'm going to
Forward
match
slash 2 P space capital W.
And see, it tells you that you're doing the capital W.
Mobility gain 3.6, map W.
And now it's bringing that up. Remember, I want to go to wheelies for the big dog show here. And hit return to actually have it take
Teleport completed from http://slurl.com/menapino/233/103/22. Mobility gain 3.6. You can read this object. Bell stand, mobility gain 3.6. You can read this object. Attend Vision Quest Awards at 1 p.m. SLT7/3. Mobility gain 3.6. Change region to Taupo. Voice not available at your current location.
As we mentioned before, there's a little bit of lag in what we just experienced. I'm sure all of you have experienced before, the infamous double teleport. So, if you just press escape to cancel that, it should be okay.
Escape.
Transferred to before, teleported, and now it's trying to teleport again. So just
Oh, how exciting, 2 for 1.
Although it may be stuck in.
In the, when we were talking about the here command and it was giving you the vector, you can use those vectors to do a go-to command and use those as the argument for the command, so /2 go-to and that vector. Or if you want to have the avatar actually move using meters and the ordinal directions, again, you would do a move to command and do W 10, say, and W for west. So again, there are a lot of different ways that the avatar can actually move around. And then again, because you can check where you are, that /2 here or the compass command to find out where you are. You can also look around you with a /2 X command. Again, that's from the
X.
regular GPS.
Mobility gain 3.6. X. Mobility gain 3.6. Avatars. Mobility gain 3.6. Louise later at 2.2 meters northeast. Mobility gain 3.6. Passive items. Mobility gain 3.6. Object at 2.0 meters north. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east. Mobility gain 3.6. Active items. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east.
Right, and what it's doing there is it's lifting one of each of the types. One avatar, the closest avatar to you, passive items, active items, and scripted items. So you're seeing one of each kind. If you wanted, you can increase that by just adding to the argument. So if X plus 4, for example, would be, it would list 4 of each one of those. Your 4 closest avatars, your 4 closest passive items, and things like that. I heard the word guide dog there and vendor, and since what we're looking for, obviously, in our dog and pony show here is guide dog, we're going to go look for that vendor.
2. LOOK space VENR. Mobility gain 3.6. Look vendor. Mobility gain 3.6. Scanning for vendor. Mobility gain 3.6. No avatars. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east. Mobility gain 3.6. Active items. Janelle Morinay is online.
Oh, there you go. It's just wonderful to hear your friends. Names mentioned. So what we've done there is I've done a look with part of the name, and it gives me the entire object name to find out if that indeed is what I wanted to find. And then, as it was mentioning there, when I first teleported over, it said you can read this object bell sign. If I wanted to, the Marco Polo scripts allow you to read cards that have been inserted in objects. So there are a couple of different things that you just saw there. When it said in the original output from X that there was something called object, that's exactly what doesn't help, because no one has actually given that a name when they did the building originally, so you don't know what that is. And again, simply naming a million things chair also, is not as interesting to people who are blind. Be creative with the names and wonderful things like that, because again, that's just another way that someone who's blind can enjoy Second Life, with the interesting names of the different objects and things like that. And then again, with that idea, please use the Marco Polo system. It's just wonderful, and it allows someone who's blind to get a description of things as well. So now let's go and find, since we're looking for the dog.
FIND space VEDOR.
The find
Mobility
command.
gain 3.6. Find vendor. Mobility gain 3.6. No avatars. Mobility gain 3.6. Active items. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east. Mobility gain 3.6. Virtual guide dog vendor at 3.6 meters east. Mobility gain 3.6. You are walking playing animation. Cane. Walk.
And actually, if it's
Mobility gain 3.6. You are standing playing animation. Cane.
Right.
Stand.
So it's telling me that I'm standing, it would say if I was sitting, it would say if you're turning, and when you're teleporting, whatever, it will tell you if you're falling, when you're landing and flying and things like that. So all of those things will actually be reported to the person who's blind, so you get a good feel of the status of your avatar in Second Life. And then another wonderful thing about Second Life, one of the things that I've used a lot just to have fun are the VKC dogs, the Virtual Kennel Club dogs. The great thing about those is, again, when those dogs are running around behind something, for example, there'll be a kind of sound shadow that's created by the occlusion of that sound. And so the person who's blind actually gets kind of a feel for what is going on in the world because of the sounds. So again, I want to say, not only please name your objects and use the Marco Polo stuff, but any time that you can create sounds about things, it's really wonderful. So the vendor, obviously I don't have a way right now of getting the dog out of this box, but Snow Globe is going to handle that. So what I'm going to do instead is go off back to my home. So we're still looking for our...
Actually, before this demo, and Jolie wasn't part of that conversation, unfortunately, we actually added a command /1 guide dog.
/1 GUDOG.
And what's the argument?
That's the only argument you need there, and that would actually cause that vendor to send you a guide dog. So,
How cool is that?
it now supports a keyboard
Oh, I just
command.
pressed
rather than
enter.
keyboard.
Let's see what happens.
Guide dog update server. Your new guide dog and other accessibility items are on the way.
How cool!
Guide dog update server owned by Charles Mountain gave you VHH virtual guide dog presentation and demo v2 http //slurl.com/SLURL.com/second-life/55/215/26.
Aren't those VHH folks great? All right,
Very
very
good.
good. And so
Clicking
now,
on keep is something that we have yet.
Guide dog update server owned by Charles Mountain gave you mobility gain 3.6 http //slurl.com/DNMARKLIS.
the last thing I want to demonstrate is the idea of the Dynamarks. This is a little out of order of the sequence that if you're looking at the demo script, but no one up here has a copy of the demo script, so I'm just sort of doing it by memory. The Dynamarks is a system that actually allows people who are blind to actually keep track of the different locations. I used to be doing this with the
Mobility
VKC
gain
dogs using their
3.6.
marks.
Dynamark list 1. Wheelies, public 2. Lighthouse Point, public 3. Linden Village, Hughes Office, public. Mobility gain 3.6. Dynamark list 4. Linden Village, Pathfinder's Office, public 5. Assistant Tech Meeting 6. Annex 7. New SURL 8. Universal Accessibility Central 9. Virtual Guide Dog Project, Main Office 10. Demo start.
Okay, so for example, if I wanted to actually create a Dynamark where I am because I want to come back to this vendor box,
/2 DAM space SEERE space VEDE
Go back. Two letters.
now I want that virtual spelling bee. Did I mention that again?
backspace OR
You could make a little buzzy noise when it sees you're in trouble with that dictionary
Mobility
thing.
gain 3.6 Dynamark set here vendor. Mobility gain 3.6 Dynamark set successfully. forward
So
slash I.
let's go see that it is set successful.
Mobility gain 3.6, DM list.
You can make
Mobility
DM
gain
for Dynamark.
3.6, Dynamark list. 1. Wheelies, public. 2. Lighthouse Point, public. 3. Linden Village, Hughes Office, public. 4. Linden Village, Pathfinder's Office, public. 5. Assistive Tech Meeting. 6. Annex. 7. New SURL. 8. Universal Accessibility Central. 9. Virtual Guide Dog Project, Main Office. 10. Demo Start. 11. Vendor.
See, there it is. So that you can actually.
Forward slash. FIND space LISE
And remember how we saw that
space LATR.
Louise was online, so I'm going to do a find Louise. So you actually could create that, and then you can go to those Dynamarks. So it doesn't have to be something that is using the map and the landmark system. You can actually use the Dynamark system to get around. Very, very powerful implementation.
Mobility gain 3.6. Find Louise later. Mobility gain 3.6.
Alright.
Avatars. Mobility gain 3.6. Louise later at 5.1 meters northwest. Mobility gain 3.6. You are walking playing animation. Cane. Walk forward slash 2. Louise later. Hello Jolie S. Mobility gain 3.6. You are standing playing animation. Cane. Stand. Backspace.
So I want to mention that my avatar right now is
Jolly One Magic X. Capital H E space capital L
one
O
of the
1.
AKK courses that
Jolly One
eventually
Magic.
will have
Hello,
the
Louise.
assistive technology in it as well. This would be what we're a step towards the future. The normal assistive technology, the mass
L.
assistive technology is always
C O
free
E
and always
space
will be
T.
free. If a person wants to upgrade to a different object or item, they need to contact the
A
person
space.
the person who's created
R
that
E
object or
A
item.
L space.
Unless they give it to you.
Louise
for free,
later.
you'll have to
I
buy
am
it.
so glad to
There's
be
second
here
life
with you to
comments.
show how Max
But yeah,
technology works. G space S
This is
H
part of
W
what makes
1.
Second Life so interesting.
Okay.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for helping on this project. It has made this entire last year in Second Life just such a learning experience for me, quite an adventure. And now we really do have a place for us in our future of our dog and pony show with our very own dog and pony. So I want to thank everybody so much, and again, many, many thanks, Charles, Sexette, Louise, for making all of these demonstrations possible, Marina, Rick, oh, wonderful Rick, and all the great people who have helped actually have these things happen. So thank you so much to everybody, and thanks to everybody for coming.
I want to expand just a little bit on something Joey was pointing out earlier.
Jolly
Max,
One Magic. Welcome to
who you
Real
see
Dog
here,
and Pony
as
Show.
the virtual guide dog, is a German Shepherd. And the inspiration for Max, and part of the reason for my doing this project, is that Max is a memorial for a very good friend of mine, Max, who was a German Shepherd, who approximately a year and a half ago had to be put down due to hip dysplasia. So the project is very much memorial to him, and that's why I personally insisted that the first guide dog be a shepherd. We're planning on expanding
Slater is
and including
offline.
other breeds as well. So, you won't always have to choose shepherd
Control.
as your
Spelling selected value. Control select age. Copy. Teleport complete from http //slur.com/townhome/166/91/24 capital B. Capital N. Jolly connecting to in-world voice chat. Mobility gain 3.6. Changed region to Manahino. Mobility gain command Q.
And there we go.
Connecting to World Voice Chat.
Very successful day in Second Life. Thanks, everybody.
We were planning a little bit of time for questions, but I think we have another session that is planning on coming into this room. If you have any questions for us, catch us out in the hall or catch us in Second Life. We'll be happy to address those with you. Thank you all.
Displays menu.
Kind of,